Greetings, I am Zachary Hepner. I'm pleased to share the Dvar Torah for Parashat Matot Massei. In a story about redemption, two blood brothers are separated. One is in bondage. Upon release, he and his brother begin their journey. They are on a mission from God. They face a slew of perilous antagonists, yet they keep true to their promise till the end. In the end, neither of them merit physical redemption, yet the key point is that they kept true to their promise. In what manner does Parashat Matot Massei have to do with the 1980 movie The Blues Brothers with James Belushi and Dan Akroyd? In what manner does the Blues Brothers' odyssey echo the travails in the wilderness? This year, 5782, is the 42nd anniversary of the Blues Brothers, echoing the 42nd mattot in Parashat Maasei, so it is noteworthy at this point to delve further. After leaving Pharaoh's House of Bondage, the Israelites received the Decalogue, the Ten Commandments. Upon release from prison, Jake and Elwood meet with their former mother superior, who bemoans that she had raised them to believe in the Ten Commandments. At this juncture, Jake offers to help raise money to save the orphanage. His commitment is an inclusio that portends the end of the narrative. The Sinai theophany echoes the Blues Brothers when Reverend James asks Jake, "Do you see the light?" Jake replies, "Yes, yes." Jesus, expletive, I have seen the light. At every tribulation in their adventure, Elwood says, "They're not going to catch us. We're on a mission from God." Very soon afterwards, they are on a high-speed chase against the police. The police are chasing them, echoing the pursuit of the Egyptians and all enemies of the Israelites, with the catchphrase, "We're on a mission from God." Just as the Israelites are pursued by Amalek, after Jake drives into a Nazi parade claiming, "I hate Illinois Nazis," the Illinois Nazis are added to their litany of pursuers. When jilted Carrie Fisher encounters them with a machine gun, they recall many biblical divine forms of retribution, including Korach and the 10 plagues. Jake pleads, "I ran out of gas. I had a flat tire. I didn't have enough money for my cab fare. My tux didn't come back from the cleaners. An old friend came out from out of town. Someone stole my car. There was an earthquake, a terrible flood, locust. It wasn't my fault, I swear to God." After Jake jilts Carrie Fisher a second time, she is then added to the list of their pursuers. Fast forward to the end of the story. Their enemies are about to get them. The Blues Brothers arrive at the tax assessor's office. Jake hands the assessor the tax for the orphanage. $5,000. It's all there, pal. They have saved the orphanage. The police fire on the door. In the final line of the movie, the assessor says, "And here is your receipt." They return to being jailbirds. The inclusio of this story begins with bondage and then a commitment, and ends with the fulfillment of the commitment and a return to bondage. Yet salvation for the nuns and for the orphanage is guaranteed. Parashat Matot begins with the laws of vows and promises, creating a very large inclusion that does not end until chapter 21 of the book of Joshua, Sefer Yehoshua. The war against Midian was divinely commanded as a retribution for them leading the Israelites into sinful behavior with Baal Peor, and was not intended as a colonial war to acquire land. Following the conquest, the tribes of Gad and Reuven, who had large flocks, solicited Moshe to settle the conquered lands so they can herd their flocks. Moshe responds in horror, "Ha'chechem yavo la'milchama batem teshvu po, v'lama tiniyun et le'bnei Yisrael mi'avar ta'aretz asher natan lahem Hashem." Your brethren will go into battle while you rest here? Why are you turning the hearts of Bnei Israel from crossing the Jordan to the land which God had given them? Moshe reminds them of the scouts who caused the Israelites to spend 40 years wandering in the wilderness. The word tiniyun echoes the language following the scouts' narrative, vayilonu, and lu matnu. Gad and Reuven tell Moshe they promise to fight with their brethren tribes, but they would like to take the Transjordan land immediately for their flocks. the laws of vows acts as a prelude to the commitments Gad and Reuven makes to Moshe. Thus begins the very wide inclusion of conquest and commitment, which only ends in the last chapters of Sefer Yehoshua, when Joshua tells Gad and Reuven, Az yikra Yehoshua l'Reuven v'l'Gadi v'l'Chatzi v'Menashe v'yomer lehem atem shmartem et kol asher tziva etchem Moshe eved Hashem v'tishmeu v'choli l'chol asher tziviti etchem lo azavtem atachechem ze yamim rabim ad hayom hazeh ushmartem et mishmeret mitzvot Hashem achechem Elokechem v'ata heniach Hashem Elokechem la'achechem kasher diber lehem. Then Joshua called the Reubenites and the Gadites and half tribe of Manasseh and said to them, You have kept all that Moshe, the servant of the Lord, has commanded you, and have hearkened unto my voice in all that I commanded you. You have not left your brethren these many days until this day. You have kept the charge of the commandment of the Lord your God, and now the Lord your God has given rest unto your brethren. Many other questions are answered in light of this inclusion. Why does Moshe command the laws of vows only to the heads of the tribes? Because the votive delegates of Gad and Reuven were the heads of those tribes. Also, why does Moshe use adjuring language to Gad and Reuven? V'hitem nikiyim me Hashem u'mi Yisrael, and you will be clean or guiltless from God and Israel. Because the theme of the narrative is the oath that they fulfill in the book of Joshua. What is the relevance to pointing out the survival of Kalev ben Yefuneh HaKnizi v'Yehoshua ben Nun? Because those two are singled out at the end of the book of Joshua, that they receive special plots. There are many connections between the language and numbers and the end of Sefer Yehoshua that links these narratives. God keeps his promises. Jake and Elwood save their people, yet don't get into their promised land. Moshe and Aharon deliver the Israelites to the promised land, yet themselves don't enter the promised land. The lesson of promises is emphasized as a prologue to this stage of the Israelite journey as they go from wanderers to conquerors. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom.